Hey Aries, I just noticed that this lunar cycle, which just started with the new moon in Sagittarius, is the last lunar cycle that you won't have Saturn and Neptune in your sign. So it's kind of like a little like the grace period is gonna extend a little bit further, like another lunar cycle, this lunar cycle, less than 28 days since it already started, and then things are gonna change. I don't remember which one is gonna turn first into your sign. Might be Neptune. I think it's Saturn. I'm not sure. I don't want to lie here. So but they're not far apart anyway. It's like 3 weeks. I think January 26th is the first one, and then was it February 14th, Valentine's Day, round about that time. It's also round about the time of the solar eclipse, actually. Quite significant. Is it the solar eclipse? I think it's the solar eclipse, not the lunar eclipse. Yeah, I need to make myself an astrology cheat sheet that I always have, like, lying right next to me, so I can just kind of peek on it, because apparently I don't remember these things well. Some of them I do remember. But then again, it's not entirely new. Like Saturn and Neptune obviously were already in your sign from, what was it, May through September. At least that's the core period of this year. So you already had a taste of, or we already had a taste in general, not just you, what it feels like to have Saturn and Neptune, both of them, in Aries. And I think this is significant because you, Aries, are one of the two signs which are very good at saying no. You are the big boundary makers, like you and Scorpio, the Mars ruled signs, that teach everyone else what it is, this boundary, and what it is for, what it is good for, what it is not good for. Because, yeah, I mean, all the signs do a lot of good, but all the signs also do. We all do crappy things. We all do negative stuff where we have not figured it all out. And Saturn, for me, is the big planet of understanding. Not so much about cognitive understanding, but more like having, what is the word? Like your perspective on life, or your understanding of life, your worldview, your philosophy, so to speak. And Neptune is the planet that says all is well. All is well. And not mockingly. At least not in its positive expression. Neptune is not unity consciousness from my perspective, but pretty close, like one tiny little step away from it. And I think unity consciousness is probably the stars in their entirety. I'm not sure about individual stars, but in their entirety. So reaching for the stars is kinda, it's not getting us out of here, because I don't think getting out of here is the purpose, but it gives, reaching for the stars gives us meaning, is making us live a purposeful life, a meaningful life. Yeah. Okay, that was quite enough for an introduction. Let's see what we can see for Capricorn season, basically, for this lunar cycle that started out in Sagittarius. for you, Aries. Okay, that was quite the entrance. Wow. I think the camera kind of caught it, how the card flew up in the air, like right in front of my face. King of Pentacles. That's Virgo. That's Virgo in my book. Because I think kings kind of are like the most mature energy of the court cards. And I think when we've mastered something, mastered a suit, an area of our life, then we are most adaptable, because the Virgo and all like Pisces and Gemini and Sagittarius are the mutable signs, and they are associated with the kings, because I think life is about change. Life is ever changing. It's moving forward or backwards or both at the same time or whatnot. Like, time is funny, but something like it is for some reason about change, positive or negatively. And I think if you're most able to adapt to it, you're more resilient, and hence you have mastered something. Not like in the ultimate sense that like, I've done it, I'm good now. No, but for the moment you're good, and then you have to keep learning, obviously, because it keeps on changing. So you have to keep, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I'm repeating myself, sorry. So what can we see for the present moment for this lunar cycle for Aries? What can we see? No. What can we see? Temperance has shown his face, but it's not like, I don't like these turnarounds. They need to flip out, fly out, whatever. Not flip out. Not flip around. Fly out. Okay. And these cards are also huge. So they're hard to handle for my tiny hands. That's too many cards. But this one stands out. Okay, Ace of Cups. Eight of Cups. Hangman. We're gonna take them. We're gonna put them underneath the Ace of Cups here. Okay. Then one or maybe two cards for the future, please, for Aries, for this lunar cycle. What can we see here? No, too many cards. Please behave. One card, 2 max, please, for the future. For Aries. Thank you. Princess of Swords, that's the Page of Swords. And at the bottom we have the Ten of Swords. Don't worry about that. It's about awareness. It is about where you put your attention, but not, yeah, in a way, cognitively, like, really, like, how, yeah, what awareness and attention is about. But the purpose is not about creating a new perspective or something. It is about shining your light. It is about your inner light coming through, or that you are aware of it. I always read the cards more in the way that it's important for our inner understanding, our inner development, our inner awareness, as compared to our outer awareness, the awareness of what's going on around us, or how others perceive us, for example, how others are aware of us in the reading of this card. Or generally, actually, in the reading, how I read the tarot cards. Because I think the inner process, the outer process is a reflection of the inner process. And then again, you could say the inner process is, of course, then also a reflection of the outer process. But I think that it's still, first and foremost, an inside job, not an outside job. So it is true that the outside is a reflection, no, that the inside is a reflection of the outside, but that's like a double reflection. The origin is the inside. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I mean, we all have a unique perspective on life and everything. Not all words make sense to all people that we use. Let's clarify the King of Pentacles here. Actually, it's a funny King of Pentacles because he has like fire in the background. It's like he's the King of Pentacles and his forest is on fire. I mean, literally, there are two trees, and half of his background is on fire, and the other half is, I don't know. It's like a window. It's like a portal. And there's a bird sitting there, and there's blue colors opposing the red. Like calmness, coolness, like not cold, but like a soothing coolness, I want to say. There's also a boar next or in front of the fire. He's kind of chilling out there. He likes the fire. Interesting. Interesting King of Pentacles here. I'm not sure if that's really Virgo. I mean, Virgo is very discerning. It's associated with Mercury. It's about cognition, cognitive abilities. Okay. We have cards that have flown out on the freaking ground. Okay, there we go. We have the Knight of Swords and the Four of Swords. Okay, let me see. Knight of Swords is Aquarius energy. Sorry, I was blanking there for a second or two. A magician at the bottom. Let's push this up. All right. So it's Aquarius energy, the Knight of Swords. The Four of Swords is about also a calmness, a quietness, but Eye of the Storm. So there's a lot of things happening outside of oneself, or even inside of oneself. There's like tumultuous tumultuous situation going on, but there is a place inside of ourselves at the very heart, at the very center of us, that is calm, that is peaceful, and that soothes us. Much like this feeling that I had about the blue portal, wherever it may lead. Probably even more, to the center of our being, although it's not the center of the card. But then again, life is funny. I mean, this journey is definitely not just being achieved by, or not being walked. The path is not being walked by walking in a straight line. Or as it says in the Bible, or in the New Testament, I believe, Jesus is encouraging us to walk the narrow path, where the narrow path leading in a way to the eye of the needle, where, what was it, a camel can't pass through? Like the rich man as the camel or something. I don't quite remember what the saying was. But it's something where we're being squeezed, and where we like need to twist and turn and do some, I don't know, weird stuff, from our perspective at least, to achieve, well, I think to live a meaningful life that is a good life, that has not the devil in it, that has not, like, where the devil is not dancing on our roof, so to speak. And that's easier said than done, obviously. Yeah, I don't know if you I'm wondering what you've been through in your past, in your recent past, I guess. Because Aquarius is also quite the eccentric energy. And now I've talked about like the path not being straight and the eye of the needle where we're being squeezed. So I'm wondering if you had to move, or if you needed to make to move by a pretty weird dance music. I don't know, dance music, like from the outside it might look like you're doing a funny dance or something. Those are weird words. Those are not my words. Those are my words, but the energy around it is it's funny. It's weird. It's weird. That's what it is. Where does this weirdness come from? Did we invite this? And then I'm back at this new moon that is defining this lunar cycle that I'm talking about. It is it happened in a decan that I call consequences. And sometimes the consequences are weird. They are there are consequences sometimes to decisions that we don't understand where they come from. Like, we decide something. Like, for me it was, I want to heal. And then all kinds of crazy stuff, very difficult, seemingly unrelated stuff happened in my life that took me a while to backtrack it to that decision, that they happened because I decided that I wanted to heal. Maybe you have had a similar experience in the past. Yeah. Fascinating. Do we need to... I feel like drawing one more card here. One more card for the past here. No, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. One card. There we go. Of course, they always fall on the floor. The High Priestess. Yeah, it's definitely an inside job. Like the High Priestess, Six of Swords. The High Priestess says, if you are not willing to face your subconscious, you will have no success in your life. If you're not willing to see the parts of yourself that are invisible, if you are not willing to not believe your own bullshit, if you can say no to your own bullshit, you won't be successful. And I mean, you're Aries, you're good at saying no. And that also unfortunately means that you're good at saying no to yourself, or a part of yourself, an aspect of yourself that perhaps wants to die, needs to go into the background for a while, may come forward at another time, maybe not. Who knows? I mean, at some point I had the feeling of I went through so many ego deaths that at some point I had the feeling like I'm carrying around a gigantic bag of tombstones, but those tombstones weren't heavy. They were light as a feather. They were just reminders of my experience, that I did not forget who I used to be and how different I am in the now. Tombstones, I mean, sounds very heavy, but they weren't heavy. There were no burden. So maybe it's similar for you. Okay, let's move on to this trifecta of cards in the present. Let's move this a bit over there. Ten of Swords. Yeah, we could also talk about the underlying energy, like defining the entire reading more. Awareness. No, we talked about that. But there's something I want to say about it. What is that? He's holding a sword. Like, there's another sword, the Ace of Swords. Or perhaps the Ace of Pentacles, because I think the next card after the Ten of Swords is actually not another, like, cycle within the swords, but it's actually the Ace of Pentacles, which is guidance in the physical. Like, all the aces are associated with the stars for me. Well, the stars first and foremost, but also Neptune and Pluto. And the Ace of Pentacles is the most tangible, also associated with new beginnings, as all aces are, but also new beginnings, new resources in the physical. And I feel like this inner light, letting your inner light shine, will make you able to tap into new resources, like resources created out of yourself. Because, like I said, for me, the journey is an inside job. So obviously when something new comes up, it is generated out of ourselves. Okay. Let's move on to the presents, this Ace of Cups. Which is similar, I mean, to the Ace of Pentacles, but it is in the emotional realm. It is in the emotional realm, rather than in the tangible, physical reality. But it also has something to do with energy. I think the emotions put energy into our thoughts. Like, they're like the battery of our mind. It's kind of like saying, if you speak without feeling what you're saying, you have no power in your words, because the power of the word comes from its emotional connection, and meaning comes into the words, which is another important aspect, not just power, by its connection to the sun, which is like the center pillar in the tree of life. I always like to use this Kabbalah tree because it explains so much about our reality. It's crazy. So our mind is over here, ruled by Mercury. Our emotional world is on the feminine side, ruled by Venus. And the energy kind of goes this way. Venus is supporting Mercury, and Mercury is receiving the energy from Venus. The reception of energy from the feminine, the reception of the masculine, of the feminine energy. So the masculine is receiving the energy of the feminine by giving form to the emotions by thoughts, by creating thoughts. That's, I think, what the purpose of our thoughts are, making sense of our emotions. So we better speak with emotions backing our thoughts, otherwise we are disconnected here in this horizontal line right here. And this is, I mean, this is the lower part of existence, basically. This is our, more or less, all of our physical world, because with Jupiter, time and space come into being, and we always count from right to left. So it's we're actually at number 4 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the flow is kind of like going like this in a zigzag. becoming more denser while it is trickling down. And it's, why did I start talking about it? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Ace of Cups, new emotions. Yeah, it's also new form of energy, like a new source of energy, not a new kind of energy, but a new source of energy, a new emotion. That's too specific, but more like opening up new path of how to receive more energy in the physical. And it's not about resources yet, but then again it is. Maybe we see that in the future, because this is the right now. So right now the foundation of new sources of energy are being created. But we have the 10 of Swords at the bottom, so we're not there quite yet, where the 10, again, the Ace of Pentacles comes in, where we actually have the resources down here on Earth available to us. It first needs to go to Mercury, to the Moon, and to Earth. If Mercury is already informed, then maybe we can make a shortcut here and go directly down here, but it's still a two-step path, so to speak. And then we also have the Hanged Man, which is Neptune energy, and the Eight of Cups, which is Saturn and Mercury. I call it the big surge, you know, that it's not good enough yet. It's not, I don't have all of the information. It's more like an emotional card because it's Eight of Cups, so it's not so much that you know that you don't have all the information yet. It's more like that you feel something is missing. You feel it. You just know it in your bones or whatever. You just feel it in your bones. And the Hanged Man is a card that is often associated with a change of perspective, but perspective is very specific for me because it's a mercurial kind of thing, and the Hanged Man is very much not associated with Mercury. It is associated with Neptune, and Neptune is about just being good with something for no apparent reason, and also one step away from unity consciousness in a way. Not unity consciousness in itself, because that Neptune is too low vibing. It's very high vibing, but in comparison to unity consciousness, it's almost there, but not quite. And because unity consciousness in itself is just about being. It is. We enter it when we feel nothing at all, basically. When we have nothing to think about. We have nothing to have emotions about. We just are. Nothing else. This sounds to us completely boring, and you know. But that's what life is. I mean, it's difficult. This is no beginner world, so to speak. This is no beginner life. I'm being reminded of again and again. But I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm talking about with unity consciousness and this one step being away from it, where everything, you just feel this big emotion in your body, where everything is just good, it's just peaceful, it's just like pleasurable, but not in a not in a, you know, in the usual way, more like in an abstract kind of way. But this feeling leaves you wanting more. More is not quite the word. Going on a surge. It makes you go on a surge. Perhaps because it's like, my experience is that it's just somewhat of a fleeting moment. It doesn't last, and then but it inspires you to go out and search for something that makes you more connected to it. Makes you it kind of sounds like I'm describing something that makes you addicted to it. Which can happen, obviously. I mean, pleasure is a powerful force, even if it's so abstract as Neptune is, but Neptune also has negative sides. So addiction is definitely something that is associated with Neptune. So we gotta be careful with that. We also have, I also drew the Seven of Cups here. Just gonna push this up a bit further. Yeah, that's good. Which is a double Venus card. And all the double cards, like with double energy, I always have the feeling we need to be a bit careful that this energy doesn't get out of balance, that it has some counterbalance. And the trap of Venus, as all feminine energies, is that it can overflow. It can be too much. It's like Venus and Jupiter both. Well, Jupiter is the big expander, but Venus is also giving a lot, and too much energy, too much emotion, too much going on in our emotional world. And the underlying card is the Six of Swords, which is actually good because it's a mercurial card. It's Mercury in Aquarius, and Aquarius is also air, so it's also a swords, a mind-based energy. And I think Crowley or the Golden Dawn, I think both, call this card Signs. I call it Transaction. But Signs is also a good word for it because it's so swordsy, this card, so mercurial. But it's also sun. It's also the sun that comes through here because it's a 6 card. Or the cards with a 6 on it, at least when it comes to the minor arcana, have sun energy to them. And this is actually a good counterbalance to the Venus energy. It's the best one because Mercury is on the same level as you can see here, or as we already saw with Venus and Mercury. They're equal counterparts. They are natural partners in play. And they can either work with our subconscious or more with our inner light. Both is very meaningful. And so that gives me hope. This is good. This is good. So your surge is backed in a positive way, I would say, by your emotions and by your mental state, by your perspective that you have, and it is looking good for finding this new source of energy, this Ace of Cups here within yourself, finding that within yourself. Yeah. Okay, let's use this deck and have a look at the future. What does Aries need to see about the future for this lunar cycle? Thank you. What is this energy all about? What's that? The king or the queen? That should be the queen, right? Oh no, is that? Okay, is that a dude? Or is that a lady? Is that? A gentleman? It's definitely a mermaid, but they are male mermaids, right? Okay, let me see. With some decks are ambiguous with their cards. Sometimes it's the page and the knight. Sometimes I think it's the king. Or yeah, that's the king. Can we have queen now? So remember what the crown looks like. There's another. Yeah, it's a king. It's a merman. Maid. There's no word for maid. What is that? Isn't that the page? Like the guy working in the stables or something? For a knight? Anyway, completely does not matter. We have the fool also here at the bottom. Such a cool fool. It's like this guy with wings carrying this girl across the sky. Quite inspiring, I would say. Also this card, like underground, and the merman is talking to these sea creatures. This, I don't know even what to call these. A bit not ugly, but unusual creatures. Definitely inspiring and activating one's imagination. But that's also what I really like about what is the artist called again? Edward Monk? No, is it him? I don't think so. But I think it's an Edward. I don't remember. I need to get the boxes of the cards here next to me, so I know I can tell you every time what I'm using. So we have the King of Cups, which is Pisces energy, your neighboring sign. It is having mastered, at least for the moment, like we covered, one's emotions. And feels like here it is mastering the energy. But how can you be expected to master the energy so fast when you just received it? Like, this is the present moment. You just received it. And now, well, in the future, in the near future, that's how I read it at least, usually, you are mastering it right away? Well, I don't want to say that's impossible, because I know you're pretty cool, Aries, and you can do a lot of stuff, but I mean, the emotional word is not necessarily your area of expertise, let's say. I mean, we all have different placements. So an Aries also means that there is a high likelihood that you actually have well, if you have an Aries sun, that is, that you have placements in Pisces, but the likelihood is equally as big as having it in Taurus, obviously. Like, both of the neighboring signs can be involved, but perhaps you have the sun in Pisces, and perhaps even quite early in Pisces, such that you have your Venus or your Mercury in Pisces. That's possible. And then we have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is the innocent mind, having innocent thoughts. So perhaps this new form of energy, emotion, that's the same thing for me. At least energy in the lower interpretation of things, are creating a new innocent perspective. You are aligning yourself to a more innocent perspective within yourself. That is absolutely beautiful. I love this. And that might actually be the cause for you to get a taste of what mastering this new energy feels like. Still, I don't really feel like you're mastering it though. And I really don't want to say it's impossible, like I said before. But it makes me wonder what is really meant here. So let me draw another card here to clarify the future. What do we have? 9 of Wands. Double moon card, a counter force. So double moon is like a full out subconscious surrendering, complete surrender to the subconscious. Yeah, that's what it feels like. You are trusting, and perhaps that's actually not for you, not the easiest thing. Well, your Aries placement is definitely gonna challenge you with that. Perhaps, like we said, your Pisces placements, if you have any, not so much. It might be right for your Piscean aspect if you have any, but your Aries aspect is definitely challenged by it. Counterforce. I immediately thought you are a counterforce, but I don't know how that fits the picture that we've talked about so far. That seems like part of the story that we didn't talk about yet, unless I'm slow to connect the dots. I'm just looking at the past again. I mean, the obvious would be, because you have found that inner peace, the eye of the storm energy, the peace within, even if it's tumultuous within yourself, there is always this core part of you that is peaceful, which is a much needed counterbalance, counterforce to the chaos that we experience in our outside world increasingly. And 2026 is not gonna get better, but then again, for me, the calendar year, like the modern calendar year, is not really meaningful. So I don't really think that something's gonna change on the 1st of January 2026, because for me the calendar year started with Libra season, so end of September, but that was also the time that Saturn and Neptune, at least together, stopped dipping their toes into your sign. I think, I don't know which one left Aries first. I think the other one stayed in your sign for another month or so, until the end of October, so it wasn't that much longer. So most of this year we didn't have Aries or Neptune in your sign, but that's gonna change. Like I said, like I started this reading, that's gonna change. This is the last complete lunar cycle without the two of them in your sign. And like I said, Aries is the sign that makes that is most able to say no of all of the signs, together with Scorpio. And Scorpio is more on the water side, and you are more on the fire side, so you're probably much more, it's much easier for you to show it on the outside, because you're just quicker. Fire is quicker than water. I think you might, or we might all be challenged with understandings, like world views, ways of living that are just false, that are just not good. Where Aries says, like you and in general, but you have perhaps the responsibility to say, no, this is not good. This is not good. This is not meaningful. This is not a good life. This doesn't lead to a good life, rather. This understanding, this worldview, or this unity consciousness, or this sense of belonging that Neptune can give us, that we had here with the Hanged Man, with Neptune being in your sign. So I would encourage you to share your opinion, your thinking, your experience once these planets, Saturn and Neptune, are in your sign. I think that's part of your responsibility. And in preparation for that, because like I said, they're not yet there. There's another month, a grace period, that you have to prepare for that. But I think you'll be gifted a new source new source of energy, of emotion, that you can use as a counterforce, that you can rely on. Quite surprisingly for you, perhaps, because emotions are not your strong suit, at least not in the past, but perhaps now, perhaps soon. That's quite something, Aries. If you're able to pull that off, what I see here, major kudos, like, honestly, because it's outside of your area of operation, your traditional area of operation. But I guess that is what is needed. All the signs need to give each other a hand, working together and walking in each other's shoes. Fascinating. So I hope this helps. And thank you for being here, Aries, and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.